Paul Parker.
We've got a coastal low pressure system moving across our region through today. This is going to help reinforce the below normal temperatures we have been seeing, bringing rain to our higher terrain and a little bit of some breeziness too. Your high today, 92 degrees. Going to be seeing an overnight low of 72. With the Fox 10 weather experts, Clark.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's.
Take the Points is sponsored by Sports Marketing. The Dos Equis Game Day Show, brought to you by Phillies Sports Grill, is sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing. Good morning, college football fans. It's another thrilling Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for the Dos Equis Game Day Show, brought to you by Phillies Sports Grill.
All right, guys, your mics are hot.
On Fox Sports 910. Whether you're tuning in from the couch or enjoying the atmosphere at one of 4 Phillies Sports Grill locations, we've got you covered with all the latest college football world. Now let's have an ice cold Dos Equis and talk football live from Phillies Sports Grill.
Welcome in, Jackson Groff, Ben Garcia. We're here live at the Philly Sports Grill in Scottsdale. Happy College Football Saturday. But more importantly, Ben, happy, do you remember the 21st night of September? Yeah, no, today's day. Stay tuned. Second hour, that'll be one of our rejoin music. Had to play it. Woke up this morning on Twitter, and that was the first thing I saw, and I was like, thank God, because every year I feel like I always miss out on playing September by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
So frustrated that I forgot about that.
Hey, second hour, we will be playing that as a rejoin to come on in.
Just for the whole segment. We'll just
whole segment, yeah, on repeat. But exactly. We're out here. First show, Ben. We got this going. A new era, the college football show, Dos Equis Game Day Show. Like we said, we're out here at the Philly Sports Grill. Come on in. We have a big giveaway promotion that we're doing here. $9,100. You have a chance to win, and it's free. It's for the free ski. Just come on down here, sign up. You roll 6 die. If it spells Fox 910, you win $9,100. If you get all the Dos Equis logos, you win a big cooler. All the Fox 910 logos, you win a big flat screen TV. If you get all the Phillies logos, you win a $250 gift card. So come out here to Philly Sports Grill. You'll see us all the way in the corner right next to the pool table. We'll get you all situated with that. But Ben, college football week 4, so much to talk about. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing so good. We will also take photos with anyone that wants a photo with one of us, or we'll take your photo.
Oh, yeah.
You probably won't want
take your photo, take videos of you throwing the dice. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm stoked. We have NDSU going on in here. I know they're having a little bit of a watch party here at Phillies. So, yeah, man, I'm stoked to be here. Ready to get everything going.
Yeah, 100%. We got a bunch to go through today. Marco D'Angelo from Wager Talk will join us at 11:30. He's going to talk about the Georgia Tech Louisville game at 12:30, as well as Iowa at Minnesota. Iowa favored by 2.5. Louisville's favored by 10. And in the second hour, Arizona Wildcats. Sorry, Sun Devil fans. You guys are playing today. We'll have a guest on next week talking about the Sun Devils. But the Arizona Wildcats are on bye week after what was kind of a confusing, disappointing blowout against Kansas State on the road last week. Justin Spears, the Arizona Wildcats football beat reporter from the Tucson Star and the Wildcaster, will join us at 12:30 and kind of talk about what he saw from that game, what was going on through the bye week, and what they can build on. To me, Ben, when I looked at that Arizona-Kansas State game, it just kind of was just a wake-up call for Arizona. The Pac-12 is different than the Big 12. You got to have big offensive and defensive linemen, and you got to have a stable running game. You cannot compete against a Kansas State team who likes to run the football, how physical they are on the defensive end, and that showed. And I think Brent Brennan has got a lot of work cut out for him. It's definitely a tough loss, but for Arizona Wildcats fans, the good news, that game is a non-conference game, so it does not affect the Big 12 standings. So you're 0-0 in the Big 12. If you lose one, you still have an opportunity maybe as a one loss to make it in. 2 more losses, your Big 12 hopes, your college football playoff hopes all crumble.
Yeah, it also does. Okay, so here's a few things with U of A football that has been less than ideal. They don't really have an identity. It feels like they're just running it back with Jed Fish's guys, which is fine, and that's not an original thought. That's something that a lot of people have brought up about U of A over this past couple of weeks. And you kind of saw it coming with K-State last week and Avery Johnson and company. You just don't have the identity that you want to have like you did last year. Last year, it was a lot about U of A punching people in the mouth. They were a smash-mouth football team. But you had mentioned you kind of want to get a little bit bigger up front when it comes to offensive linemen and U of A. And that just didn't happen. They have some of the same guys, that's true, but some of those guys, like the kid over that's with the Green Bay Packers right now, just got drafted. And it also doesn't help the indictment of Brett Brennan that San Jose State has just gotten better. I know they lost to Wazoo yesterday, but still, San Jose State's just gotten better since Brett Brennan has been gone. That's an indictment on Brett Brennan, whether it's a talent issue or whatever it is. They've got to find a real, true identity with U of A football, because it's been a real tough watch. As an ASU guy, yeah, absolutely, I'm always going to root for the demise of U of A, but and that it's just good for both schools if both schools are powerhouses. And right now, U of A spiraling, and I wonder if some people wish they had a mulligan on the Brett Brennan hire, but we'll get to that at a different time.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's early.
It is early.
Transfer portal. It stinks because, you go back. This hire doesn't even happen. Jedd Fisch doesn't leave unless Nick Saban retires. So Nick Saban retires. DeBoer fills in his spot. Jedd Fisch goes up to Washington, then Brett Brennan, and then someone, the Navy head coach, actually comes in and fills that San Jose spot. But you're right, Ben. I mean, last year, I feel like Arizona just had a ton of surprises with Fafita. Not a lot of colleges were familiar with Fafita and were trying to figure out his game. Losing Jacob Cowling as a number 2 wide receiver, I think, hurts on this offense. They were relying on T-Mac that entire Kansas State game. And more importantly, Jonah Coleman, the running back last year, transferred to Washington. Huge loss. And I'm interested to talk to Justin Spears because they had a running back in the portal by the name of Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. And some fans might not be familiar with him. He's the transfer out of New Mexico. The dude, an athlete. The dude is elusive and a really talented running back, but he's been dealing with eligibility issues with the NCAA. Kind of a thing like you saw last year with Tez Walker and UNC. So Arizona's still trying to figure that out. I think if they have him on this roster, it's going to add to this offense. But like we said before, the offensive line, and we'll talk to Justin Spears at 12:30 about all of that. The offensive line has got to get better because they got pushed around, and it felt like Noah Fafita, as the game progressed on, was further and further and further back in shotgun. So we'll talk to him about Arizona, but I want to flip it to you, Ben. We'll dive deep in the next segment. Arizona State 3-0 for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, the biggest thing about ASU is, man, I was not sold on the Kenny Dillingham hire. I was okay. The fact, he's OC over at Oregon. Clearly, he has some merit to him. But there was this aura, as the kids like to say, about Kenny Dillingham, where he just felt like he was going to do everything on his own. Last week, after they beat Texas Southern, he stayed in Texas 3 extra days and did a bunch of recruiting visits. There is something to Kenny Dillingham where you can't do everything. And I feel like this year he's been way better about delegating and being the overseer of everything at ASU football. I understand Mississippi State now at this point just doesn't look to be very good. At this point right now, they're losing to Florida. Texas Southern, yeah, it's a win over a team that was undefeated.
Texas State
of last week. Anyways.
I think
listen, it's a good win. I'd be really interested today to see what'll happen from Arizona State and Texas Tech, simply because if they win, you can't keep them out of the top 25 now.
Oh no, they're in.
And at that point, you just got to keep it close. There is a skill when you're building a team where if you lose, it still feels like a win because you built off something. If they get ran out of the building by Texas Tech, that we feel like they can do, at some point, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, how much of that 3-0 start was actually real? So I'm excited to see it today, man. I'm really hopeful that ASU can help pull out an upset today in their first Big 12 conference game.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our next segment, as well as go around the Big 12. We call it our Big 12 roundup. A bunch of Big 12 games, including right now, Kansas is tied against West Virginia 14-14 apiece. There were Friday night games last night, Ben, that I real quick want to talk about before we head to break. All three of them. 2 overtime games, 1 double overtime game, and if you stayed up until 12 a.m., you know what I'm talking about with Washington State, 4-0 representing the Pac-12. But I want to talk about this Illinois team going into Nebraska. 31-24 in overtime. The 24 Illinois knocked off 22 Nebraska. Look, I think Nebraska's a good team, right? They had a statement win in prime time against Colorado when they needed to. But you and me talked about before the season. Colorado's the same team they were last year. They did not get better on the offensive line. they're relying on Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter. That's a repeat for today. We'll see if they can bounce back against Baylor. And I get the hype around Dylan Raiola and the comparisons with Pat Mahomes, which, by the way, is weird. I think it's weird that he mimics Patrick Mahomes as much as that did. But last night you saw freshman mistakes in overtime. You cannot take a sack 5, 30, 40 yards behind the line of scrimmage in overtime. You got to throw the ball away and give your guys an opportunity to execute, because they were moving offensively. Little struggled in the second half, but that fourth quarter they were moving as well. But all credit to Illinois and Brett Bienema. He had a great scheme. The quarterback had 4 touchdown passes. They've got 2 stud wide receivers on the outside. And now you look at the Big Ten with an Illinois team going on the road at Penn State next week as a potential dark horse to make some noise in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I just want to kind of back up a little bit to the Dylan Raiola thing. You had mentioned it. It's just an adjustment period. It's very similar to the Caleb Williams that we have now in the NFL. Everyone's kind of poo-pooing the guy because Caleb Williams hasn't been great in the NFL. When you are the best athlete in high school and in college, and you are making plays all the time, you're throwing sidearm throws, you're making passes that you could make. Dylan Raiola is kind of dealing with that too. Dylan Raiola was the number 1 quarterback in the nation for like multiple years. At some point, he just has to make the adjustment of, and we had mentioned too, Colorado's defense is not very good. He has to have the adjustment of, listen, I can be Superman at times, but I have to learn to lean on other players, and you saw that last day. You can't take a sack in the last or in crunch time of that game. You just can't have that. And it's something that he'll learn and he'll grow from. And I don't think it's too much of an indictment on Nebraska. I think it's just Dylan Raiola going through what quarterbacks have to learn to come with and just become more mature in the system. And that's what it is. He'll learn from that. I still think Nebraska probably should have won that game. It is kind of interesting, though, with the Illini. They play every single year the same way. They're a smash-mouth football team. They punch people in the throat, and they're one of those Big Ten guys who aren't skinny jeans. They're bouncers at a nightclub. So it is really interesting to kind of see the Fighting Illini going in and beating Nebraska.
Yeah, 100%. And look, Nebraska 3 wins right now. You got so much ahead of you. Make a bowl game this season. I think the last time they made a bowl game was in 2016. It's been a long drought for Nebraska Cornhuskers. But like we said, we're here at the Philly Sports Grill in Scottsdale. We got a packed house here watching NSU, a little NDSU fan club party here. So come on down if you want an opportunity to win $9,100. Free to play, and if you just enter, you'll be entered to win tickets to the first ever CFP quarterfinal in Glendale, Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl as well. We're Dos sweepstakes. There's nothing that says college football season like Dos Equis. You enter the sweepstakes, you and your friends can win 6 tickets to any 2025 season game of your choice, a decked-out party bus, a full tailgate for you and your buddies, and more. Just enter online at dosequis.com/college football. It's free to enter. You can pick any game you want. They will also, the Dos Equis fan crew, they've got a big tailgate. They'll set up for the Kansas game next week, October 5th. I should say 2 weeks. October 5th, they'll be at that game as well. So Dos Equis, we appreciate the sponsorship with them. Join their Go for Dough sweepstakes for a chance to win. But like we mentioned on the other side, we're going to recap what we've seen from Arizona State and preview a big Arizona game at Texas Tech. You're listening to Dos Equis Game Day Show live from the Philly Sports Grill in Scottsdale. We'll be right back.
All clear. Ready for some football? Join our annual Pro Football Pick'em contest today. You could win $5,000 and amazing prizes from Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light. Don't miss out on the excitement. Head to fanpick'em.com.
So you guys want me playing this Twitter clip like as we come back, sort of?
How can Lerner & Rowe effectively handle DUI and criminal cases?
Yep.
You guys are a personal injury law firm. The answer is simple. We're good at it. Lerner &
Perfect.
Rowe Group is a separate law firm from
You got it.
injury attorneys. Our criminal defense attorneys have represented thousands of clients across the state. And with our affordable payment plans, you can get the defense you need immediately. If you've been wrongly charged with a crime, time is not on your side. We're available to help you 24/7.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
What's up, guys? Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing. Monsoon season is upon us. Be proactive today. Go to state48roofing.com. Scan the QR code below. We want to take care of you. Be proactive. Get your maintenance done. We are home of the hashtag Sexy Roof Status.
Looking for the #1 neighborhood sports bar? It's Philly Sports Grill. Dedicated to providing impeccable service and a mouth-watering menu of delicious food and drinks. Whether you're cheering for your favorite team or catching the big game, Philly Sports Grill is your ultimate destination. With 4 convenient locations throughout Phoenix and Tempe, you'll get the best sports bar experience. Experience the excitement at Philly Sports Grill today. For a location near you, head to phillysportsgrill.com.
Looking for the ultimate spot to watch football with fellow Ohioans in Phoenix? It's Upper Crust Pizza and Wine Bar. Enjoy great pizza, cold drinks, and cheer them on all season long at Upper Crust. Located at the 101 and Cave Creek Road.
Dreaming of a stunning putting green or a perfect lawn? With Tempe Turf Installers, it's a reality, starting at just $550 per square foot. Enjoy peace of mind with up to a 16-year product warranty and a 2-year labor warranty. Our skilled team uses cutting-edge techniques and premium materials for a lush, low-maintenance lawn. Call Mark at 602-348-7190 or visit TempeTurfInstallers.com for your free estimate. Licensed, bonded, insured. Tempe Turf Installers, your trusted source for artificial turf.
Crest Insurance is about more than providing coverage. It's about creating your safety net. We are to a national network of trusted carriers. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, we're here to help with a personal touch that's close to home. With Crest, you're not only protecting what matters most, but also helping to build stronger, more resilient communities. Crest Insurance. Coverage you can trust. Service you can count on.
Kick off the football season with Twin Peaks, Rock, Manooch, Jimmy B, and Fox Sports 910 for our fantastic tailgating sweepstakes. Text Peaks to 59925 for your chance to win a Traeger grill, Blackstone griddle, and more. No purchase necessary. Details at rockandmanooch.com.
This fall, Macy's is here to help you shift seasons in style. Get an extra 20% off coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of great deals like dresses $150 and under, shoes she'll love 20% off, and the perfect dining and entertaining finds 30 to 40% off. Plus, Star Rewards members earn rewards on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Going on now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Welcome back to the Dos Equis Gameday Show, presented by Philly Sports Grill on Fox Sports 910, your Saturday home for everything college football. We're fired up to dive back into the action, live from one of the 4 Philly Sports Grill locations. Now back to the guys.
Ison in the slot. 2nd and goal. Snowball in motion. Levitt. To Sam Levitt.
Mics are hot.
Touchdown, Arizona State.
Welcome back in the Dos Equis Game Day Show. Appreciate ESPN for that soundbite. Sam Levitt, that was the most pivotal point in that game when they were down 24-14. Were able to get a score before half, 21-21, and they ended up winning against Texas State. But, Ben, Arizona State's got a big one today at Texas Tech. Texas Tech coming off of a dominant win against North Texas. They are 2-1. The Arizona State Sun Devils are 3-0. The Big 12 opener for both teams. Arizona State has an opportunity to be 4-0 for the first time since 2016. And for Texas Tech, they get to put to rest a rough start of the season. I go to you, Mr. Arizona State graduate and alum. What will you be looking forward to? What's something that you got on your mind? First key to the game for Arizona State to come out on top and beat Texas Tech, who's the 4.5-point favorite.
Yeah, it's not it's not a nuts take. It's what people are all going to regurgitate over and over and over again. But Texas Tech is an air raid offense. They like to throw the ball. It's the Big 12. You got to keep their offense off the field. You got to keep them off the field. You got to run Cam Scatabo as many times as you can. He's got to be able to pick up chunk yardage, the play action. It is very similar to, if you're an NFL guy, the Cardinals with the Bills. You got to keep the better offense off the field, and it should work. Granted, you're traveling over to Texas Tech. It's going to be a toxic environment. One thing that I don't think that ASU is going to be prepared for, which is why if you're leaning aside, it's probably Texas Tech. Big 12 football is just different than Pac-12 football. They are stepping into a madhouse that is Texas Tech. It's crazier fans. It's not exactly what ASU has. It's going to be an insane environment. Can ASU quarterback Sam Levitt and company be able to downplay all that? And so, yeah, we've got to see Cam Scatterbo be able to run the ball effectively. Got to be able to push the defense of Texas Tech around. And then you have to be able to limit chunk plays as well for Texas Tech. Keep everything in front of you. They're going to want to get out quickly and run in this game. And when I say that, I mean chunk plays, over the top. And this is an ASU defense. That's fine. But we've seen quarterbacks that can throw the ball effectively, like Shedeur Sanders last year, completely torch this defense. Keep plays in front of you. Run clock. Run Scatterbo into the ground. And that is the key to success for ASU against Texas Tech. And also, again, the environment is going to play a factor in this game. Can they limit that? Can they take the crowd out of the game? And how do you do that? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think ASU start off fast. They always start off fast in the first half, specifically in the first quarter. All of their drives this season, they have scored a touchdown off of as well. But you make some great points. I think about the Big 12 too. Lubbock, Texas. Not much to do in Lubbock, Texas. I've never been to Lubbock, Texas. But if it's a city that I've never heard of, you got to everything for Texas Tech, and that's something that I think a lot of these Big 12 schools have in common versus the Pac-12, more bigger cities, not maybe as the bigger diehards as you want to see out of Texas Tech versus what you see out of maybe USC or UCLA, what you're used to for Arizona State. But I think you're spot on. I think Arizona State's got to set the tone with Cam Scatterbo. I think he was frustrated last game not being able to run the football, but luckily for them, they had Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson, 6 catches, 120 yards, and 1 touchdown against Texas State. They've got to be able to find him as well as multiple weapons and kind of get the tempo going for Arizona State against Tech. On the other side, you mentioned Texas Tech likes to throw the football. Arizona State, 119th in the country in pass defense. So if you're able to about 10 later in the show, Oklahoma, to hide a weak secondary is easy when you have a front seven that's dominant and able to rush the quarterback. State, towards the end of that game, was able to pressure the quarterback and kind of collapse the pocket against McLeod. You've got to do the same thing for Texas Tech. And on the other side, a player to watch out for Texas Tech is running back Taj Brooks. I get it was North Texas last week. He's coming off an injury. He had 74 rushing yards in the first quarter against North Texas. He's got 3,300 career yards. So this is a guy that's running the football. You mentioned, too, if you can stop the passing game and trust maybe, the run defense, which I thought in the second half of Texas State they did better, you've got an opportunity to win. But if they can throw the ball on you and you've got a running back in Taj Brooks, it may be a dogfight. It may be a shootout between these teams on who can score to 50 first. And if you're Arizona State and your defense is struggling, you've got to be able to execute and score an offense. And that comes down to Sam Levitt to be able to execute, scramble, improvise, and hit his guys downfield. If the running game is not even there as well. But if Texas Tech is two-dimensional, it could be a long day for Arizona State.
This is a statement opportunity as well for Arizona State. Not just for Kenny Dillingham. Not just to be able to show that this isn't necessarily a rebuild like it was last year, just a retool. The opportunity to put himself on the map with ASU. Going up against what people would probably lean towards is a better quarterback in Morton and Texas Tech. Can you outduel opposing quarterback everyone probably going to take over you currently in Lubbock? The reason why Arizona State, Cal, whatever it is, the old Pac-12 schools, there's just more things to do. There's
Agreed.
more pro teams and areas. I have been to Oklahoma when they were still in Big 12 country. They shut down the city for everyone to go to those games. People eat, sleep, and breathe Texas Tech over in Lubbock. So it's not just only that. It's a statement game for ASU to make their announcement to the Big 12. We're not going to be pushed around. You could try the air raid offense. We're going to limit big plays. Kenny Dillingham, Sam Levitt, and Cam Scatterbo as well. This is a nationally televised game. It's a chance to prove yourself to scouts, a chance to prove yourself to the college football world that you have an opportunity to show, no. The team you're not worried about is Arizona. It's Arizona State, so I'm excited for that. And Kenny Dillingham has done an amazing job accelerating this process of transfer portal that ASU has not been great at prior to him showing up. So Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think this is a big statement when you mentioned this is a big city that we're in Tempe, Scottsdale, Phoenix. You win on the road at Texas Tech, you're 4-0, and you maybe get a ranking. We mentioned off air that if they go into Texas Tech and win this game, I would be shocked if they're not ranked in the AP poll. That's one thing about Arizona fans, and whether it's Cardinals, whether it's D-backs, whether it's Suns, or even the Sun Devils, when you're not good, we won't show up. But when you're good, everyone swarms in. Before, like the games that we saw with either Jaden Daniels or Manny Wilkins when they were ranked, those games were packed. When they play Kansas in the town in a couple weeks, that will be packed. Friday night against Utah, that will be packed. 4-0, 5-0. So I think for Kenny Dillingham, this is a statement win, and even for recruits as well. You're in the state of Texas. Yep. We saw against Texas State when he was going out there and recruiting after the game. You can go in at Texas Tech and try to get some big recruits that are either at that game or even, in the state of Texas as well, too. So statement win, but I do think if Arizona State loses this game, it's not the end of the world. There's more Big 12 games. And, look, we said before the season they were picked last in the Big 12 media poll, which was ridiculous. Go in and win 6 games. You're improving year by year. And they still have a young team, too. A lot of these guys will return next year as well.
Not only that, but you will dominate the conversation for the next 2 weeks. ASU has a bye week next week.
Yeah.
You walk into Lubbock, you beat them. You are dominating the conversation for 2 weeks, where it's not like other teams where you go in, but then you play Kansas and you lose or whatever, right? The very next week. And not only that, if you look ahead to ASU's schedule, they've then got Kansas. You have a chance to march into the Utah game Friday, October 11th as a, 22nd best team in the NCAA or an FBS. And be able to dominate the conversation for the next 3 weeks. That is a huge proponent to have at ASU, where Kenny Dillingham is trying to change the culture, where you have the Arizona Cardinals, the Phoenix Suns, the Diamondbacks right now are headed to the playoffs. You have all these other things in a distracted sports market. Make people have to show going to, especially when the weather gets better around October 11th. Can you imagine ASU marching into that game 5-0? It will be packed and whatever want to paint the stadium, and there won't be a lot of Utah or there won't be as many Utah fans there as there will be if you walk into that game 3-2.
And that's another primetime game against Utah too. I mean, we've seen the last couple of days the ratings of those Friday night games last night and last week with Arizona and Kansas State too. Before I forget, Rocky Minutia, Jimmy B, every Thursday at 1:30 they have Charlie Regal on, the ASU assistant head coach. He had this to say talking about the offensive strategy against Texas Tech.
And everything comes off of our run game. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to watch us play and see that, our passing game comes off of us being physical up front and running the football. And so, I don't think that's going to change this Saturday in Lubbock. They do throw the ball all over the yard, and but for us, we've got to go in there and just play, get after it, physical, downright, punch in your face football. And I think if we do that, I like our chances.
I love coach talk. Punch you in the face, mouth football. That's what I'm talking about. Charlie Regal when it comes to Arizona State and Texas Tech. Last thoughts before we welcome in Marco D'Angelo at 11:30.
Generally,
should we say score prediction?
Score prediction for today's game? Should we save that?
Ooh.
Or should we do it now?
I think we save it. I think we tease it at the. But they play at 12:30 though, so I think we may have to do it right now.
I guess that was really bad radio for me.
That was. I'm gonna go. I think Arizona State wins this game.
Oh,
actually, I'm gonna go Arizona State. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I'm gonna say 42-40. I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game.
That is really frustrating because I thought you were gonna go Texas Tech. I'm gonna take ASU in this game too. I think ASU matches up well with Texas Tech. If you want to keep it a high power offense off the field, you got to have a running back that can do so. I do think Arizona State can do that. And I do think Texas Tech is still going to overlook Arizona State. Oh, congrats. You beat Texas State and Panera Bread University the week before that. I think they're overlooked still. And I think ASU and Kenny Dillingham are going to dominate the conversation in Arizona sports over the next 2 weeks.
Are you doing anything Monday night? Get ready at Arena Sports Grill. 2 Monday night games. Join us 1 to 4 as we kick off the ultimate game day experience with 2 thrilling matchups. Rockman 1 to 4, and then after the Jaguars versus Bills and the Bengals versus Commanders, it's the football tailgate. 20 lucky fans will have a chance for $9,100. Yes, $9,100. $9,100. Plus, Plus Arena Sports Grill will be giving away gift cards throughout the games as well. And don't miss the debut of the new Rocky Manuch Amber brewed by Dos Equis. Think you know a great flavor. You'll swear it tastes like Dos Equis Amber. Join us Monday at Arena Sports Grill, 60 Road. Don't just watch the game, experience it. Well, coming up next, Marco in Vegas, the co-founder of WagerTalk.com. Marco D'Angelo will come and join us. He's going to talk about Georgia Tech at 19 Louisville and Iowa at Minnesota. You're listening to the Dos Equis Game Day Show, brought to you by Philly Sports Grill. We're in Sports 910.
Attention to Brian fans. Catch every thrilling game at Arena Sports Grill, your official watch party destination. Enjoy great food, drinks, and the ultimate game day atmosphere with play. Arena Sports Grill in Scottsdale.
Dreaming of a stunning putting green or